Yep, that's important. They're going to edit this in. I've been teaching for 30 years, but only public school for the last 16. And I've been at Clements, this is my 5th year. So I taught middle school in Katy ISD for 12 years. I live in Katy. And I really had a lot of success in middle school, but I really wanted to work with high school. And so I started looking for a high school position in the surrounding area and found out that they were interviewing people for Fort Bend ISD. So I interviewed and had a good interview, and then was kind of hoping it would be Clements because Clements has a good reputation and it was not too far for me to drive. And so when I got the phone call and it was Clements High School, I got pretty excited. So that's why I came. My colleague Ryan Bogner, we work together and we co-teach classes here. So we have 6 different levels of choir, from our beginning levels of women and men's choirs all the way up to our varsity mixed choir. Well, I've done a lot of singing on my own too. I started as a professional singer, professional classical singer, and I sing in choirs in Houston. Sang with the Houston Symphony Chorus and was a rehearsal conductor for about 6 years. Doing a little bit less of that, my husband and I started taking ballroom dance lessons when my daughter got married, so we started doing that, and also my husband and I have a ranch, so we raise cattle. I got my undergraduate degree at a liberal arts college in Iowa, and I got my graduate degree at University of Southern California. Well, I grew up in an education family. My mom was a teacher. I had aunts, and my sister was a teacher. And so I always saw that as a very noble profession, as something that you could make an impact and you could have relationships built with students that would carry on in the future, which I always thought that was important. I actually fell in love with music and became more of a performer at first, but kind of couldn't stay away from education. It kind of called me back, so that's why I've been teaching for a while. Well, my teaching philosophy is that when you are learning something, it needs to be something that is personal to you. It has to be applicable to something that you will take into your everyday life. And so teaching music, people don't always think of that as being that practical, but actually you can learn a lot of lessons through music, from discipline to practice, expressing yourself, coming into realization of the thoughts and feelings that you have. And my hope is that through my teaching and through their learning and us working together as a team, that they'll take those skills and those qualities and apply them to everything they do in their life. I've had a lot of teachers that have impacted me, but I would say my high school choir director, now in retrospect, really impacted me a lot. She gave so much to her teaching and to her conducting. She put us first a lot, and she had so much passion for music and always required excellence from us all the time, to the point where I just felt like I wasn't going to be able to do it because she was so good at it. I'd never be as good as her. But I just always have looked back on how she expected excellence from us always, and how much fun it was to be really good at something. And so that's what I have tried to instill in my kids. It's fun to be excellent. It's just great to reach your potential. And we do something where we work together on something, so to reach high levels of success as a group is even more rewarding. A lot of them have to do with life lessons and kids coming to a realization that, I want to sing in college, or I want to pursue music, or I had a student who came back. She goes to Emory and she's a math major, and came back and said, I'm double majoring in music too, and thank you so much for what you've shared with me in high school. But I think probably the most memorable times are when we're singing as a choir and all of a sudden all together we're feeling the music together as one. And so we've had a couple of those experiences together. At UIL 3 years ago, we had a beautiful piece. The girls loved the poetry and they loved the music, but they really just weren't all coming together and connecting. And then we went to UIL and we had our warm-up time, and they just kind of looked at each other like, we get it. And so they, for the first time, sang that piece like they were one person. And when you experience that with them, you really feel like what you're doing is significant. The most rewarding aspect of being a teacher is just that you get to, well, for me, I get to stay young because I'm with teenagers all the time. But I think it's just life is so interesting and it's changing all the time because you're not just going and sitting at a desk and doing your job and living kind of in your own head, but you are experiencing life through all of the students that you're working with. And so you get perspectives from each one of them. And that's one of the reasons why I love teaching at Clements is because people are coming from so many different backgrounds and different perspectives that it allows me, even though I'm closer to the end of my career, it allows me to constantly think of things in a new way. So I love that about teaching. Well, high school student, I would say stop thinking of yourself as a future college student and think of yourself as a high school student and experience life every day. I mean, you have to take care of your responsibilities, but try to be organized, set your priorities, but then also schedule time for social and for being with friends and family and time alone so that you can always put things in perspective. I think we always feeling like we have to chase that goal and build the resume and all of that. And I think it's important to experience life. If they need more motivation than that, you'll write a better essay for college if you experience life a little bit. So I feel like we need to all slow down a little bit and figure out why we do the things we do, not just that we have to do them. So that's my biggest advice.